And this is for all of you, okay? A lady, she's a nurse in US, she came to me that she wants to become a DBA. So if a nurse who has nothing to do with technology could become a DBA, so what's your excuse? Welcome back guys, Arun this side from DBA Genesis, and excited for the next episode of Daily DBA. I think we are doing an amazing job. I believe like the questions that I'm getting from all of you are, some of them are challenging, some of them are very important, and on a very personal note, I would like to tell to everyone is, even I am learning from most of your questions, because some of you are sending me problems from your real-time environment, and those problems are something I'm actually enjoying solving those problems, because that's where my passion lies in. When I work on servers, when I look at any database, I just get a different level of energy, and that's what excites me all about this daily DBA show. Now that being said guys, let us start with today's show with the first question of the day. Can we directly move from 12C to 19C, or we have to firstly move to 18C and then 19C? I think I would not like to give you the direct answer, because I would like to give you some assignment, and based on that assignment I want you to be enabled in order to find the answers. All right, so guys, what do you think if we follow this kind of a format where I pick up the questions, I give the answers if I feel so, and at the end of the answer I kind of like give you an assignment to search something, to go and read something, or to go and watch some video, or probably go on to our support website just to check and read about some important stuff. What do you think? Like, shall we do this kind of format? I mean, I would love to. So for you, I would not like to give you the direct answer, but rather I would ask you to go to Google and type Oracle Upgrade Matrix. When you type Oracle Upgrade Matrix, you will understand from which version to which version can you upgrade the database, or do you need to have a particular patch set even before you can upgrade to the main version. So from 12C to 19C, I would want you to look at the Oracle Upgrade Matrix, find the answers, and put it down inside or below this video comments, and I would love to read all of your comments. That being said, let's move on to the next question. What is the impact of IMPDP parameter transform equal to disable archive logging on physical standby? Now you tell me, this parameter, when you say transform equal to disable archive logging, what will happen? It will disable the archive logging generation or archive log generation during the import that you're performing inside your primary database, right? So on primary, you are trying to disable the archive log generation, and on the standby, like if you don't receive those archive logs, then your standby cannot be like inconsistent with the primary, right? So disabling the archive log generation definitely has no impact if you are performing this in a data guard environment, because understand, in a data guard environment, the primary always runs in force logging mode. So you cannot disable any kind of logging on the primary database. Now, if this would have been a normal database, any kind of standalone database, definitely this parameter will help you. But when it comes to a data guard configuration, this parameter has no impact. So even if you perform the IMPDP import, still the primary database will produce the redo log entries. Those redo log entries will definitely convert into the archive logs. Archive logs definitely, once transferred onto the standby, they will be applied onto the physical standby. This parameter definitely has no impact when you have a data guard environment, but yes, it will give you a benefit when you have a standalone database. On a standalone database, if you disable the logging, the best part is the import will be very fast, right? That being said, this parameter once again has no impact on a data guard environment where you have primary and standby, because by default, when you set a physical standby database, and if you know that one of the requirements of primary database is it should be running in force logging mode. So that's the answer. Now let's move on to the next question. Can we change the redundancy level of ASM disk group? If yes, then how? Technically, it's not straightforward. What you need to do is, let's take you have one disk group that is in external redundancy, and then you want to change it to probably normal redundancy or high redundancy disk group. So what you do is you create a new disk group with normal or high redundancy, and then you move the data from one disk group to the another disk group, and then you drop the old disk group. So that's the way to change the redundancy levels inside the ASM. I think that's the simplest way to do it. But I'll tell you this, guys, on a personal note, when I work with clients, what I've seen is most of the times the storage that is allocated by the storage teams, the storage will have redundancy at their end. The storage team will maintain redundant disk at their end, right? So they will have their own redundancy levels in the storage farms. So when they are allocating disks like ASM disks for you, already there is a redundancy set at the storage level. So technically, like, it doesn't make sense in some environments where you want to set up redundancy at ASM level. First of all, you should check at storage level. If redundancies are already maintained, then you don't need to maintain again redundant disks inside ASM. So it's like you are wasting a lot of disks, right? Because already the storage team is maintaining a copy of your disks, and you are again maintaining another copy inside ASM. Technically, at ground level, you're wasting a lot of hard disks. So don't do that. I think to answer the question, to change the redundancy level of ASM disk group is like straightforward. You create a new disk group with the required redundancy level, and then you change or move the data from one disk group to the other disk group, right? Simple enough. Let's move on. What is the meaning of resolving gap using primary incremental backups? All right, amazing question. So this problem I personally faced when I was working with TCS in way back. That's my second company that I worked with. So when I was working on the client's project, I knew that one of the databases, one of the critical production databases, had the physical standby setup. Now the biggest issue in that data card configuration was the primary used to generate so many archive logs that it is practically impossible that by the time you copy those archive logs from primary to standby, and by the time you apply those archive logs, again primary will generate so many archive logs that it's really hard to bring the standby in sync. Understand, it takes time to copy each and every archive from primary to standby over the network, and after that you have to apply each and every archive. The MRP will read every archive and apply onto the standby. I think it actually takes a lot of time. So what is the shortcut? The shortest and the fastest path in order to bring primary and standby in sync is you take an incremental backup on primary and you copy that incremental backup on standby, and then you just fire rman and recover the database. That way, like, the database recovery will be so fast, because when it comes to MRP versus rman is faster when compared to MRP. So by the time MRP reads from each and every redo entry from the archive logs and applies onto the standby, rman is fast. It knows which block inside the database needs to be changed. It runs there, right away changes the game. So that way, this is the main reason why we choose incremental backup on primary, because this will be faster in order to bring your standby in sync with the primary. I think that's the only way, and that's the fastest way to bring a standby database in sync with the primary database. Otherwise, no, it's very hard. In an environment where, let's take, every single minute the primary is generating like 20 or 30 archive logs, understand, if there is a gap between primary and standby, like 500 logs gap. So how will you copy those 500 archive logs over the network? And by the time you copy and apply, the primary might generate another 500. It's practically impossible. So to answer this question, what is the meaning of resolving gap using primary incremental backup? I mean, this is the meaning, all right? Okay, so let's move on. Some DBAs say full table scan is better than index scan. Could you please clarify in which situations it's better? It's very simple. Okay, let's take this one. Understand you have a column inside the employees table and the column is gender, right? On a very general note, you have a fair idea that in the company or the employees table contains 80% male and 20% female, right? I'm just giving you some statistical data in order to identify when full table scan is better than the index scan, all right? So this employee table, you already know that you have employees, and out of all the employees, 80% of them are male, all right? And 20% are female. Now let's take, you want the output from these kind of columns where 80% data is to be outputted, right, by your query. In this kind of situation, now you tell me the query, if it goes for a full table scan, it will be faster in this case because 80% of the records are required in the output, right? Flip the game. What we are doing is we are introducing an index on the same column and we are forcing the query to actually use the index to output the data. In this situation, what is happening? The query will check the index will get each and every record as the output. So you are adding one overhead over here for the query to read the index, then look into the table data or get the data out of the data blocks and give the output to the user. So this situation is where it's better to go for a full table scan because that will be faster when compared to reading index. Index will give you the data block, then output the record. Again, read the index, it will go to the data block, give you the one single row output. So in this kind of situation, you are adding one overhead of reading an index where you already know that 80% of the table data contains male. So in any situation where you have more than 60% data as the output out of the table, all right, let me put it this way. So if your query is outputting 60% rows of the total rows or above, then it is always a good idea to go for a full table scan, right? But if your data is limited, let's take if I want to get those 20% female data, right? So I want all the employees where their gender is female. In this kind of particular situation, if I use index, it will be faster, right? Because index knows, okay, these employees are the ones whose gender is female. So I'll get faster answer. But for these female employees, if I go for a full table scan, it will be costly. All right. So I think I was able to convey you my ideas on full table scan and index scan. I would like to repeat it once again, just in case other DBAs who couldn't get it. So let's take, you have one table and you're querying the table. So anytime you want or your query is outputting more than 60% of the records of the total table, then probably it's always a good idea to go for a full table scan, right? But if it is below 60%, then it is always good idea to go for an index scan. Now that being said, I think a lot of experienced DBAs might put in your comments, like in your case or in your experience, did you see any kind of performance improvement when you went from index scan to full table scan, or you went vice versa? Like, did you move from full table scan to index scan, and which one was beneficial? I would like to know your comments, and please put it down in the comments below. We'll definitely learn from each other's mistakes. All right, so that being said, some of the DBAs say full table scan is better than index scan. Yes, it's true. Let's take the example I gave. I think the male female example in the gender column for the employees table is the perfect one. And the same thing applies for anything that you are trying to query from the table, right? Alright, let's move on. Why I am missing AWR snapshots? Once I restart the DB, it's started to generate the AWR snapshots. I guess this question should directly go to the Oracle support, and if something like this has happened in your environment, I request you to speak to the Oracle support. But that being said, I think let me share this story with you. We had a client, and this was the same thing that has happened onto the client's database, right? So every time there was a database startup or shutdown or startup, we used to see that you won't have the AWR snapshot for the particular interval whenever you start the database or shut down the database. It's normal stuff inside the AWR, because while the database is down, how can AWR take the snapshots, right? AWR will not take the snapshots. Now that being said, when we audited the client's environment, we were like trying to understand why some of these snapshots are missing from their environment. These are some things that we found. Most of the times the issue was like high CPU utilization. So whenever the server had high CPU utilization or high memory utilizations, we had seen a pattern of missing snapshots. And this is something I have also verified in a couple of environments, and I could believe like whenever there is a spike in the CPU usage or the RAM usage, Oracle will tend to kind of like miss the AWR snapshots, right? That is number one. The second one is whenever you have high load inside the Oracle database along with less space inside the sysaux table space. Once in a while it does happen. Whenever there is a space crunch in the sysaux table space, definitely it might create a challenge and some of your AWR snapshots will be missed. Another time that I have seen, again once in a while for one client, that AWR snapshots were missing, that was when Oracle memory had a problem. So there was high memory utilization inside Oracle, like 95%, and whenever there was high utilization like 95% or 98% memory that is allocated to Oracle, every time we used to see that there are some missing AWR snapshots. So for sure, like in your environment, if you have seen AWR snapshots missing, please consider to check what is the load on your CPU. Just check the memory that is allocated on the server, what is the memory utilization. Then check the sysaux table space inside the Oracle database. Then also check the Oracle memory utilization. What is the Oracle memory utilization percentages? Try to fire up the AWR report and see what is the percentage utilizations or the memory utilization. That being said, I think you can debug this issue. The recommendations that I have given, those are more than enough. You can try all those recommendations. Apart from that, I request you definitely reach out to Oracle, because this is something, it might turn into a serious stuff, because if you are losing AWR snapshots and there was a problem inside the database during that particular time, then it will be a challenge. So it's better to get it repaired than to sit back and relax. Now that being said, guys, I have picked up these 6 questions for today's daily DBA show, and now let us move on to the most exciting part, that is the bonus question. Alright guys, I'm back, and I think today is weekend and we all are enjoying. You can see nobody is in the office, it's only me. Actually, I'm the most hardworking guy in our office, and I don't know where these guys are enjoying on this weekend. That's okay. But coming back to the bonus question, actually I love this bonus question personally, because this is something even I have faced in real time and I would like to talk about it. Let's first read the question and then let me answer. So the question goes something like this: whenever I work in real-time environment and whenever I try to touch the keyboard, my hands start shaking and I tend to feel nervous in dealing with the Oracle databases. Wow. Now assume this, guys, what could be the issue in this kind of situation, right? Now understand, I'll compare this situation with someone who has never spoken on stage. Understand, if I send somebody who has never spoken on stage and suddenly ask him to go and speak on the stage, what will be their situation? It's the exact same situation. It's like you feel nervous and you feel like you have no confidence at all, and sometimes you might even panic. And I've definitely seen people who even fainted in live presentations just because they were so nervous, right? It does happen. Now let us relate it to the DBA field. Now, as a DBA, honestly, you shouldn't have this kind of fear or nervousness, right? And one of the main reasons why you feel something like this is because you are actually not confident about Oracle database. So you actually fear that what might come up today. You fear that, oh, some alert will pop up in the inbox and my lead will shout or my manager will shout, something like that. So you have that fear of others attacking you, but you are also insecure that you don't know much about the Oracle database, so you can't handle those kind of requests, right? In order to answer these kind of questions, I think you need to start building the confidence. You have to start from ground zero. And the only way to build the confidence is, first of all, it's a simple technique that I would recommend you to try it. What you do is, in the past, try to list down all the activities where you were not able to perform something, or you were not able to execute the activity, or you were not able to impress your manager. Try to write down those activities and try to master those activities at home. So when you come back home, try to create a virtual environment, try to recreate those errors, recreate those activities, and try to master them. That's part one. The part two is, don't try to learn from your own mistakes, try to learn from others' mistakes. So in your environment, whenever other DBA is working on an activity, I think it's your responsibility to go on a break with that particular DBA and speak with the DBA as to how they perform that activity. I think that will give you more insights. Keep your egos outside the office, all right? Because when you are in a game of learning, you have to keep friendship with everyone. So at your workplace, be friendly with other DBAs, try to learn from their mistakes, and not only mistakes, whenever they are performing some activity, it's your job, go talk to them. Hey buddy, how did you perform that activity? Okay, can you give me the high level steps? Note down those steps, come back home, recreate that error or recreate that kind of activity or re-execute that activity so that you learn it. All right, you will never gain or increase your confidence by just reading books or by just watching some stupid motivational videos on YouTube. I mean it, because I've seen people investing time in those motivational videos which never works. It doesn't work for me. So for you, if you want to build your confidence, first of all, figure out your areas of weakness, list down the times when you fall down, and then try to get up from there. Try to build that confidence around that situation. Like, if that situation comes back again in my life, I will stand back and I will be on my own, right? Second is, try to learn from others' mistakes. So you can't create all the mistakes in the world, right? So it's better if someone else is making some mistake, you go talk to them, speak to them, understand their situation, and also learn from their mistake as to how they got up from that situation. Now, that being said, I believe like these are my recommendations, and you don't need to panic from your managers. Most of the times, I believe like some 1 in 100 might have abusive managers. I know this situation in the world, and I deal with so many clients. I have seen so many employers also, and I believe like those kind of conditions, it's hard, and I do have sympathy for those kind of employees who are working for an abusive manager. But that being said, you should know how to deal with your managers. If something is wrong, you should say upfront. When something is not related to the topic, you should keep it outside. And also, you should try to have a rapport with your manager as to what is your manager's goal. Now, this is something very important. Of course, I was about to end the video, but now I got a new topic, so I'll speak about it, then I'll end the video. So most of the times, if you want to be an amazing employee or amazing DBA or whatever you want to be, try to make your manager's goal as your goal. All right. So what I want you all to do is, whoever wrote this question to me, try to go and speak to your manager and ask your manager this question like, hey boss, or whoever that idiot is. So ask that guy saying like, hey, what is your next goal in 3 months and how can I help you? That's it. This one question changes the game, because if you try to align or work on your manager goals, I think you will always be in the good books, right? And that way you tend to work to help the manager, not really kind of like working only on your goals. That is more important. Now, that being said, guys, I think I've taken much of your time. So let me keep it simple. So in case if any of the DBAs who are already experienced and who are feeling like you are nervous in your job and you feel fear from your current managers, or you feel nervous, or your hands shake, or you get sweat while you work on Oracle database servers, it simply means you need to build up your confidence. Confidence is the key, right? So once you build the confidence, and once you try to align yourself with your manager goals, and once you try to work on the activities that you have failed in the past, I think you will automatically start building your confidence. Trust me, guys, it is important to understand, accept your weaknesses, but it is very bad to not to work on your weaknesses. I request all of you, it's a best idea to list down all the weak areas, whatever you have in Oracle database, and start working one by one, right? So that being said, guys, I once again take care, bye bye. I think no need to fear with your managers, or no need to sweat with Oracle database. I think it's not a big deal. There are people who are learning Oracle databases. I think I remember recently I had this one lady. Yeah, this lady, she's a nurse, and this is for all of you, okay? A lady, she's a nurse in US. She came to me that she wants to become a DBA. So if a nurse who has nothing to do with technology could become a DBA, so what's your excuse? Stop all this rubbish that you fear, you get sweat, you feel nervous with your managers. Nothing like that. I think, guys, till then, take care. Bye-bye. I need to leave. Bye. I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye.